G'day, it's Jono Brake here with Monday Myth Check, and today we're going to talk about this idea that conflict is bad. I run a lot of conflict workshops. I have a conflict program called Conflict What's Wrong With You. It's really looking at the leader, how they position themselves, and how they prepare themselves for conflict, which comes in very different forms. But the general message is conflict is not a bad thing. It's something that has to happen in the team. It has to happen. We need disagreement, we need friction, we need those things so a team can grow and build trust. What I want to talk about today is this myth that conflict is bad. And at the end of the day, we all try and avoid it. So let's look at three areas where if we constantly avoid conflict, we may be running into some challenges. And so the first one is that conflict drives innovation and better ideas. If we're not thinking about the challenges our business faces, where we could improve, where we could innovate, where we could grow, and we're not allowing those things to come in, we're not allowing people to come in with contra views. In Kouzes and Posner's Leadership Challenge, they talk about one of the 5 things of an exemplary leader is the ability to challenge the process. We need this kind of conflict happening in a team. The Harvard Business Review, for example, says task-related conflict can lead to better outcomes if teams are open to collaborate. It's really important that we have that understanding. The second thing is that conflict builds trust over time. And it really does. If you want to see how this plays out, a great book written by Patrick Lencioni is called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. There are workshops on this. I even run some myself around this idea that if you have trust, you work through this process that leads to a better business and a better outcome for you and your clients. If we don't trust, we avoid conflict. The idea is I can't conflict with you if I don't trust your response, I don't trust your reaction. So very, very important in terms of thinking about the fact that conflict builds trust over time. I'm able to speak about stuff now, always understanding that I've got to handle conflict the right way, right? And so just a quote from Patrick Lencioni in that 5 Dysfunctions of a Team that says that the fear of conflict often masks a lack of trust. Interesting, right? Healthy conflict is the key to building strong teams. So that's a quote from that book. It's a really great book to read. It's a great exercise to go through as a leadership team if you haven't done that in the past and you're wondering why your results aren't so great. Maybe it's because you're not encouraging conflict. It's not coming in the right format. People don't feel free to do it. And so therefore we don't have the trust and we see declining results. In terms of conflict, obviously good conflict builds trust over time. The third thing is that conflict clarifies priorities and expectations. Okay, so something to really think about here. If I'm conflicting with you over priorities and expectations, that means we've got a good dialogue going on. It's okay for us to disagree on what's a priority. What do we need to do? What's the most important thing for the company? Where are we interacting now? Or am I bringing something that's good for all of us? All these things in terms of helps us clarify those priorities and expectations. So we don't talk about that. We don't know what they are. We don't understand. If somebody says, okay, I've got this priority, I need help with this. We can stop and go, oh, okay, let's have a look at that. Maybe it's not important. Maybe it does fit. Maybe it's something we all overlooked and this person just happened to see. Just because it's one person doesn't mean we ignore it. If you don't encourage conflict, these are some of the outcomes you're going to get. One of the things I love in Patrick Lencioni's work is he talks about this idea of disagree and commit. The action I'm going to get you to go away with today is this idea of what do we need to disagree on but still commit to doing? One of the things I do with all of my clients, we talk about this disagree and commit a lot. If you've ever sat in the exit row of an airplane and they take you through the safety briefing, they ask if something happens, are you willing to help? And they won't just let you nod or just sit there and say nothing. They will get a verbal yes from you. This is something we should handle in our businesses. We should be getting verbal yeses from everybody because that's also going to prompt the verbal no's and we can then talk about it and get backwards and forwards. For those of you who feel uncomfortable about a direction or I don't know how to agree to this, you can still disagree, but then your job is to commit to what the team says this is the way forward. You need to get verbal agreement from everybody in your team to be able to move forward. Otherwise, you're going to have that silent disagreement. When something goes wrong, they'll sit back and go, well, I knew that wouldn't happen. And again, we start to get back into that place of lack of trust, lack of results, lack of teamwork, and all those sorts of things. So something very important to think about today, conflict. The myth is that conflict is a bad thing. Conflict is actually really good for business. I encourage it. I have ways to help you develop and build that out and understand how to framework it better. I'm Jono Brake. This has been Monday Myth Check. As always, enjoy the journey.